This is the infamous Speedaire pressure switch and regulator. And mine's blown, and as you can see, I've already started disassembling stuff. This hose connects right there and connects over here for the unloader. And if you take this off, you can see I've already disassembled the wiring. The motor's off because that was the blown motor is what caused it to fail in the first place. The motor shorted out and blew the switch. So here's my new switch, and I'm going to try to adapt it to here. Now if I take this off, you'll notice this hits. I'm going to screw down all the way anyway. Like I said, I've already taken this apart, so it's not screwed down all the way. What you're going to want to do on this side is replace that nipple there with a 2 or 3 inch nipple, and I'll take this apart real quick, or try to with one hand. The switch the switch is held on in place with one screw, and it has a air fitting right there that fits into this hole. Now this hole is pretty small, so you can't really tap it for a pipe thread. But what you can do is tap it for a Schrader valve. See, this is almost exactly the same size. So I have the tap here, and I have a valve core tool to remove the core, and I have a longer nipple because when I put this great big thing on, if I had problems with that hitting this corner here, this thing is going to be a lot bigger, and it's going to smack that every time it goes around. So first thing I'm going to do is drill this hole a little bit deeper, very shallow, thread it, take the valve core out of this and put that on there, and I'm going to use JB weld because it's pretty good epoxy to hold this thing together so that this can support the weight of this. That's why I said I couldn't tap it for a pipe thread. If I had tapped it for a pipe thread, this aluminum here would be too thin to support it. So when I get it all back together, I'll show what I did. I got the drilling and tapping done. I drilled through from this side because I could use 1/4 inch fittings of various form to act as a guide for my drill bit, since I didn't have a drill press to keep the drill pointed straight. I did have to put a little chamfer on this edge so that this would screw down all the way until the shoulder is supported by it. I want this shoulder to be supported by that shoulder so that this thing can hang from it without wiggling around or breaking anything. One thing I forgot to mention was that this is soft tubing. Well, flexible. It's hard flexible nylon. That unloader valve connection is made for hard tubing, so I picked up this little kit here that lets me replace the little crush washer here with a plastic one, and this brass piece keeps the tubing itself from being crushed. So this threaded collar comes off and then goes onto the tube. The crush washer goes on like that, and then the brass tubing goes in and it all goes together. Other thing I should mention is that the thread size for a Schrader valve is pretty uncommon. It's called 8V1-32. So you'll need to keep that in mind when ordering a tap. The drill bit size for that is 9/32 of an inch. I drilled it 1/4 of an inch because the existing hole was already 9/32 of an inch, about 1/4 inch in, and I knew that the tap, once I got it in that far, would push through the slight difference when using a 1/4 inch bit. It's only 1/32. The hole was only 1/32 of an inch too small beyond that point. Taps can usually take care of that, but not always, so do whatever you think's best and buy more tools if you have to. So here's the assembled manifold with the switch. I used pipe dope so that it wouldn't move around it easily. I added 4 inches of rise with the nipple, actually closer to 6 inches with the 245s. That gets it in away from the side of the tank so I won't bump it into as many things, and gets the gauges up higher so I can see them easier. I might put the cover back on, I might not. If I do, I'll have to cut a notch for that plate there, these 2 screws next to it that would also hit the cover or ground screw, so I can just pull them out, put the cover on, stick them back in if I want to. All I have to do now is put the motor on, wire it up. Here it is, all put back together except for the cover, the belt cover, which I do have, and I'm not stupid enough to leave it off for long, but I know I'm not going to bump up against it while I'm test running it, so not take too long. So and it looks like the thing's almost full, and now it just kicked off. This pressure switch, I believe, is set to 90 kick on and 120 kick off. The tank is rated for like 150 or something, and the original valve was 125, I believe. So anyway, there it says. I'll put the plastic cover on and it's done.